Welcome to another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show. Today, I have the true pleasure and honor to interview GusRubio, the Chief Operating Officer for Douglas Elliman. Gus, thank you very much for being on the show. It's going to be a great show. We were talking off cameras, and we have so many things to share. So again, welcome, and let's get started.
Thank you. Honor to be here.
Thank you very much. How do you get started in the business? How long have you been in real estate, and why the real estate industry?
Real estate industry, I've been over about 15 years.
Yes.
The why is an interesting question.
Okay.
I actually, at the time I was with AOL.
Right.
And had a huge opportunity with Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
At the time, and they wanted me to be the marketing person on a national level for them.
So for the whole
Coldwell Banker national
name, brand.
Actually went for the NRT side, actually.
Right.
Which is their company-owned store for Coldwell Banker.
Yep.
And what occurred is after I went to New Jersey and they saw my background for international, what I've done, and my operations background, they said in addition to marketing, they wanted me to stay in Florida.
Okay.
And to be part of the growth of Florida, which at the time they had acquired several companies with Ken Carlock, Wimbish, Arvida.
Oh, huge names.
And they were on a
locally, yeah.
And they were on a growth. Area for Florida.
Okay.
And I was part of that growth of making it all work jointly together and making it work cohesively as one company.
And then after Coldwell Banker, then you joined like the master, right?
After Coldwell Banker, I had the opportunity to go to the part of the Realogy side, which is the company that owns Coldwell Banker.
And mention what Realogy. Many agents don't know what Realogy is. It's a huge company that owns
big conglomerate.
Exactly. So mention some of the companies Realogy own in terms of real estate, because I know they have interest on other industries too, right? Or
Correct.
not? Right.
Well,
so
we were part of, when I joined them, we were part of Sundit. So they owned Avis and Budget Hotels.
Right.
And they own a real estate sector which handled Coldwell Banker, ERA, Century 21, Better Homes and Garden, Sotheby's, and Coldwell Banker Commercial.
Imagine,
so all
huge
of
real estate company.
It's a huge conglomerate.
Yeah. Most people think that there are different companies and competing, but it's all
it's all conglomerate in one. They each have their own head president, and they're all run the same. But for them, I was tasked, and I had the great honor of being their executive vice president for global international growth and expansion.
For Realogy, for all
Realogy.
those brands.
Right.
Okay, and then that was 15 years ago.
No, that was actually, let's see, give or take 3, 4, that was about 4 or 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Right.
Okay, so after you joined Realogy, you developed the brands, and you mentioned off camera that you went to China, right? You went to...
That was on the part when I was, prior to, with Realogy and Coldwell Banker, I was with AOL.
Right.
AOL Latin America, expanding their growth, mostly in Brazil, Argentina.
Okay.
And then prior to that, I was with United Airlines for about 14, 15
right,
years.
that was 15 years.
And I was, as I like to joke around with the people that know me, I've lived in over 11 countries. I've worked in over 40, so I am, like Pitbull says, Mr. International.
Okay.
I am in.
Okay, so you're the other version of Pitbull.
Yeah, from London to Brazil to back to Cuba to my roots, to China, to Puerto Rico. Mexico, all over the place. So it's been.
So after Realogy, I think you went to Sotheby's, was it?
After Realogy, then I was part of happy to help growth locally here. The Sotheby's franchise.
Right.
One Sotheby's.
Okay, and then you joined Douglas Elliman.
And then I just recently, about 5 months ago, joined Douglas Elliman.
Okay.
And their large growth and their what we're expecting to do and in Florida.
Probably one of the 1, 2, or 3 biggest real estate companies in the world.
Correct, number 4.
Right. Number 4 after joining
after
forces
part of
with
NRT, which owns, of course, all those conglomerate companies that I mentioned. So we're company-owned stores, so that's great.
Okay.
We have an owner. We have a company that's owned. We own all our locations. We're not a franchise. I think that's a very big difference than some of our competitors. And right now, we're huge in New York with a large market share of close to 40% plus. We're in Aspen, we're in Los Angeles, we're in Florida, obviously part of New York, we're in Long Island, Hamptons, and things of that nature. So it's really where a lot of the high-end clients are looking, because a lot of our clients don't just have a house in Miami or in Palm Beach or in Fort Lauderdale. They have a home in Aspen, they have a home in LA, they have a home in Long Island, they have something in the Hamptons, and that's basically what we're looking to do is service our clients. And we also have a huge relationship with Knight Frank.
Right,
the
right,
largest
from England.
company,
Yeah.
correct, from England, largest company in the world when it comes to real estate.
Right.
And they have over 450 offices and over 17,000 employees/agents.
All right. So, of course, you've been very successful in real estate. You work for the biggest companies in the world. Any mentors within those companies, or any mentors prior to that, to get to where you are today, that successful executive for corporations?
I've had several.
Okay.
In all honesty, I mean, I think it's an evolution. I think it's a matter of how, depending on the part of your career that you're in, the mentorship changes.
Right, of course.
I've had one when I first started, when I first started with Coldwell Banker at the time, the gentleman that brought me into Coldwell Banker, and he was a great mentor, and he's the one that was tasked. At the time, they, I think, acquired 250 companies throughout the United States, which is what made NRT large, or Realogy large. And I had the honor of him bringing me on board, seeing my passion, my vision, and how I could be an integral part of that.
What do you learn from that mentorship? One or two things that truly stand out and you still use today?
I think the most important thing was passion. You have to have passion in anything you do, whatever you do. Whether it's real estate, whether it's owning a business, whether it's working in any type of marketing or environment, sales environment. If you don't have passion, I think that's important. You have to love what you do. And I think most importantly, it's integrity and honor. And I think in the real estate industry, that's quite interesting at times,
right?
Because people are looking at one deal, they're looking at one real estate transaction to get them to the next one. And in all honesty, I think the best real estate transaction is when you service a client for life. You service not only that client, but you service their family, you service their friends, you service their kids when they grow up and grow, or as the kids leave the house, they obviously buy something because they want something less. You look at their grandparents, you're servicing the whole client. That's the true real estate transaction that I think is impeccable to do.
Now you have top producers in your company, and Douglas Elliman. I've interviewed some of them, I coach some of them. I mean, there are people closing 70, 80, $100 million a year. And definitely passion is a huge aspect. I mean, when you talk to them, you see how passionate they are. They're not counting the minutes to go to the gym or to go play golf. That's the real passion. Now, any other attribute you see from those top agents that you've worked in the past with Coldwell Banker, with Sotheby's, now with Douglas Elliman, what attributes do you see in those agents? Because you are very close to them.
Well, I think it's a couple of things. I think it's about servicing the client. Right. And in my case, running the company as the chief operating officer for Douglas Elliman, what I tell our staff the staff that reports to me, I tell them it's about servicing our clients. In my case, the client is my agents. It's really about being there and available for your agents to provide them service that they don't get in other companies. So they're my internal clients. And then my external clients are really my buyers and sellers. Our buyers and sellers are our external clients. We take care of them. But internally, you can't forget the associate that every day is out there hustling on the street, hitting the pavement, looking for deals, making things happen. You have to provide them service, and you have to treat them as a client.
And if we can define 2 or 3 tips for the audience, because sometimes we say, well, if you ask the average agent, and they most likely tell you, yes, I provide very good service, but sometimes service is very subjective. So 2 or 3 things that you say, well, look, the service, this agent provides very good service. Can you tell me 2 or 3 things that agent is doing?
Sure. I mean, it's about being available for the client. Number one at all times. It's funny. I hear a lot of interesting things, and I welcome every new agent that joins Douglas Elliman. By the way, I personally joined them.
All of them.
Every single one. They have to go through a training that I personally start off the training to welcome them to the company. And the reason for that is I hear, why did you? And I ask them certain questions: where you come from, how long you've been in the industry, or what industry you come from. And one of the things I see all the time is they say, well, I want the flexibility. And if there's one thing in real estate you don't have, is flexibility. And I laugh every time I hear that, because I think if that's the reason you're here, you're here for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
I think it's about being available for your client. Just like I'm available for my associates. My associates know they could call me 24/7. I'm literally available to my associates 24/7 and to my staff 24/7. And I think for those successful agents that we have, and that I've seen not only with Douglas Elliman but in other brands that I've run, It's about being available to the client, whatever the client's needs are.
Right.
And clients' needs change.
Right.
Things happen. Their kids go on to college. Unfortunately, illness in the family, death in the family, divorce. Things occur.
Right.
And you need to be available for them there at all times, holding their hand. And I think it's about understanding the needs of the client, why they want to buy or sell real estate.
Very, very good. That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's not about me. It's not about me as an agent wanting to make the sale. And I've seen it with your agents in Douglas Elliman's, the one that I've interviewed. It's that they are not only available, but part of the service they provide is the market knowledge, but the true market knowledge that they have. And as I mentioned to you before, some agents say, well, I have 10 years of experience in real estate. Most agents don't. Most agents have 1 year of experience and they've done it 10 times. Right. When I've talked to those agents, I mentioned to you some of them before the interview, Jeff Moore, the Bill and Brian team, John Sandberg. When you talk to them, they truly know their market. That's the real service for your client. We are not selling a product. We're selling our knowledge.
Exactly.
All right?
You have to be an expert, and that's why people are coming to you. I mean, having been part of...
You talk about the niche.
Right, like AOL and other companies. Right. Listen, in today's world with Zillow and things that are out there, the information is available to our clients.
Exactly.
What do you bring to the table different that the client can't get from the internet? And that's important. It's about knowing why they need to sell, why they need to buy, what their reason is. Funny story, I'll never forget this. I went with one of my top producers when I used to be part of running Coldwell Banker. And I go on listing appointments with my agents whenever they call. I
Excellent.
do,
Okay.
and all of our management team does, by the way. And that's another niche we offer that other companies don't. And I went with this listing, and I'm sure that agent, which was a top agent, said, I'm going at the time with my executive president. I'm going to get this listing, not a problem. I'll never forget, it was a property down in Pinecrest. And when I talked to the client, the reason why he was selling the property, my answer to him was, don't sell. Right. And the associate completely, you can imagine how well that conversation went.
I'm not bringing the
I'm not bringing you to lose the listing, I'm bringing you to win, to gain the listing. But in all honesty, when you felt the reason why the person was selling the property, it was not the right thing for the person to sell the property. So, make a long story short, of course, what occurred after, and of course, the associate never even told me. I found out from the client 3 months later, because I just followed up with the client about what happened. Helped him get a loan because that's what he wanted. House was paid for in Pinecrest, 3-acre home, so you can
beautiful,
imagine. And he wanted something on the beach. So I was able to get him something through, a bank and through a lending company. Got him a home loan, and he was able to buy a condo in Miami Beach, cash. Guess who he bought it with?
With you guys, of course.
And with the agent.
Of course.
The funny thing is the agent never called me. And then not only that, the client, and I won't forget this, he was a medical professional in one of the hospitals. And not only did he purchase something, but then 3 of his friends, he referred business to that same associate. Because of the fact that we looked about what was in the heart, what was the reason he was buying or selling a property, and what we provided was a service. It wasn't just about selling or listing their property. It was about really taking care of the client.
You hit it on the right in the target. It's about understanding and knowing the real why. There are 5 key questions we ask. 5. There are many more, but there are 5 key pre-qualifying questions we ask, which is what do you want, where you want it, why you want it, when do you want it, and how much, right? But the key one is the number 3. It's why do you want to buy or sell? And then when they give you the answer, you go back again and ask them why, and you keep asking that question. And then sometimes you find out that it's not the right time to buy or sell, but then later on they do business with you. Correct. Very, very, very good.
And that's happened throughout my career, and many times. I mean, that I've gone on listing appointments with our associates about why they're selling, whether it's their spouse got transferred. I had one years ago that was with a company, one of our transfers, corporate clients, and it was the wife was left behind with their daughter, and the husband had moved on to basically their new job outside of the United States. And the passion that why we got the listing and why we were there was because we told them every single time we show the property, we were going to be there. It wasn't going to be on a lockbox. It wasn't going to be, we're going to send you something and open the door, show them the house. It was about the security that they were left alone, their husband or their spouse was outside of the United States, and they wanted somebody that truly was going to provide excellent service to them and be there.
And for them, that was important.
At that time, it wasn't even
about the money.
It wasn't about the money because the company was the company that had moved the spouse was going to even pick up the cost of anything they lost or gains. But at the end of the day, it was just about the process that you're going to be there for me to take care of me from the start to finish. You know, real estate is not about getting somebody to the closing table. It's about the journey. It's about what's important, you know, about starting the process to closing the process. And what people tend to forget, and real estate agents tend to forget, it's not about getting the listing or closing it or selling it. It's about the journey that got you there. That's going to tell you if that client is your client for life or your client for one transaction.
And focusing in being instead of, or taking that conversation that you said to find out the why from the agent-centric approach to the client-centric approach. And most agents want to be successful. Don't try to be a successful person. Try to be a person of value to that person. And in that case, the value was being there in the property, showing that property, taking care of that, on that showing.
And for security purposes and support purposes.
Exactly. So understanding that why and bringing the value to that person, whatever value means to your client.
To that person.
Very, very good. Now, as I mentioned before, you've worked with many agents in the past. And of course, you're still working with many agents today, probably more than in the past. A huge company you're operating now, you're managing right now. What common problems do you see real estate agents facing today?
I think the biggest thing is they're trying to find a silver bullet. They're trying to find what they consider, you know, the one listing that's going to set me or make the difference for me. And it's really not. I mean, when you're marketing a property, that's important. You don't just market it, you don't just throw a property on MLS and hope that it's going to sell. It's about getting the most, you know, if you're selling the property, it's about helping your client through that process. It's about getting them the most amount of money. This is very important, and I tell people, think about it. If I gave you $1 million and I said, Orlando, this is all I have, take care of it for me. That's exactly what we're entrusting our properties with.
Usually their biggest investment.
This is their biggest investment of their life. And you have to handle that and think about that for 5 seconds before you walk into an interview or, you know, to get a listing, and say this is their #1 investment of their entire life and career that they've worked for. How would you like that to be treated? And that's important. And I think that's the biggest failure or the biggest success that I've seen some of our top associates do is when they treat it as an individual, when they know and they treat it as if it was their property, as if it was their family, as if it was their investment. Make it personal, make it yours, make it know that if you're that client, how would you like it handled? What type of professionalism would you expect? What type of integrity? What type of honesty? What type of communication? That's important. A lot of people, I hear time and time again, people that go with other companies and then they come to us and I ask them always, why are you now coming to us? Or why do we have this opportunity? What didn't that other company or agent do? And the #1 thing I hear failure all the time is communication. I see them when they take the listing, and then I never see them again. I never see them through the process.
But see what you've said from the beginning of this interview. You talk about passion. You talk about finding the why. You talk about the value you bring to the client. Understanding that it's not where you're getting to, and that's what we say in coaching. One of our principles is the difference between communication and connection.
Absolutely.
You're actually establishing that communication is at a very, very superficial level. It's that connection. When you connect with that person is going to stay with you forever. And that's taking care of the client.
Exactly.
And what I've seen now, the trends in 2015 from your top producers in Douglas Elliman, and of course I'm also in other companies, but I think Douglas Elliman makes a very strong point on that. It's some of the problems that I see agents facing today is that they're working by themselves, like a solo operation. And it is a very difficult, I don't know if that's your opinion, it's a very difficult, in 2015, a very difficult business to do it on your own.
Absolutely.
And I see the top producers either joining a team or creating a team where everybody has a unique
or joining a company,
right? With a team, right? Exactly. With the people, with the staff, because it's very, very difficult now to compete on your own. You're going to a presentation and it's just a solo practitioner compared to a team of 5-6 people that have unique abilities and experience in the different stages of the selling process. Right?
Absolutely.
So would you agree with that? That in 2015,
I would, and that's what makes our company stronger. I mean, we provide services to our associates that far none other companies don't, and I think that's part of our niche is the fact that we go on listing appointments with our agents. We're accessible to our agents 24/7. Not just me, my entire management team. from the top down.
Right.
And I think that's important for leadership. The leadership is not from the bottom up, it's from the top down. And like I said, I think to our, to my staff that I run, I tell them, our clients are our agents, and we got to be there available for them.
Right.
So it's about whenever they need some type of support, whenever they need some type of a push, whenever they need us to attend something and be part of it, or go to a lunch with them, or help them on a listing appointment, or talk to that client, talk to a buyer, talk to a seller, get involved. That's what we do.
Working as a team.
Working together,
right.
and we're part of that team. So. As you said, I think in today's world with the technology, there's good about technology and there's bad about technology. And people want answers quickly and they want them fast and they want them immediately. And it's important that you have a support system behind you to make you even more successful. And I think that's what Douglas Elliman does, is we provide that type of foundation and platform that it makes our associates better caliber associates, and they know that they have a team behind them, not just me, not just our, the president.
And I know Jay goes to appointments.
Jay is our CEO. I do as our COO. Our managing person. One of my managers. I just got an email last night from one of our associates saying, my manager went with me with a listing and I got it because he went with me. Good. That's important.
Working as a team.
Working as a team, being available to them, knowing that, and knowing how to use that team. That's important. Not everybody functions in the right way. Some have strengths, some have weaknesses. I think it's important, as you mentioned earlier, what are some of the pitfalls that I see some associates, is knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses. And when you see your weaknesses, help build your weaknesses. Help provide, train, coach, mentor, whatever it is, your weaknesses. If you need myself, if you need, Jago, or you need another associate, that's something else I see in our company that far none I've seen in no other company, is we go to listing appointments sometimes, 2 associates. 2 competiting associates within our own company will go to a listing that they know the client has called them, because 2 are better than 1. And sometimes we partner up on deals that I don't see that in many other companies, because again, they're looking at the one deal versus looking at the experience of the client.
That's what I'll use the words of my coach, Dan Sullivan. I strongly believe in coaching. I'm a coach, but I strongly believe in having a coach. And Dan, one of the most successful coaches in the world, he says, work on your unique ability. And the successful enterprises, the successful companies, the successful teams are the ones made up of people that have unique abilities, all right? That everybody's working in their strength. He says, if you work on your weaknesses, 2 years from now, you will have very strong weaknesses, right? So bringing 2 competitive agents, but then they can work together for that client makes a huge difference.
I think it's part of like being able or being willing to sacrifice what you are to be of something greater.
Very good.
And I think that's important. Sometimes people tend to fail to see that. And it's to look at the bigger picture, to look at really what's going to set me apart, what's my niche, what can I do different, what's going to help me with this particular deal. Every deal's different. Every deal's unique. Every deal has a different passion to it. Every deal has a different reason why they're buying, selling real estate. Know that and provide that service.
Now, I want your take, because you've worked with the top names in the brands in the industry, and for a long time already. How do you see?
Not that long.
How do you see the real estate industry, not the real estate market? Big difference. The real estate industry, 15, 20 years ago, I'm opposed almost 100% to a cold calling. If it's working for you, I'm not going to ask you to stop, but I think there are methods that are way more effective now. But everything evolves, all right? So how do you see the real estate industry working today, from different from 5, 10, 15 years and what it is today? And how do you see the real estate industry going forward?
I think the most important thing is communication. I think it's technology. Technology it's just going to continue to evolve. And I'll give you a perfect example to kind of answer your question. We have a top agent of ours that's been in the industry for about 20 years. Since I took on the company, she, and I'll never forget this, she was very happy. She makes over $1 million a year. She's been making over $1 million a year for 10 years.
Consistently,
I was very upset at her for doing that.
And
the reason why I'm telling you this is because, she said to me, well, I've been happy. I've been making $1 million a year for 10, 12 years. And I literally got very upset and said, how could that be enough for you? Imagine, and now keep in mind,
it's not about the money, it's about the growth,
it's
your
about
personal growth.
And the point is, they were just satisfied with the fact of just going along and not developing or moving with the changes or moving with the tide. So when I looked at the internet, there was not a website, not an IDX website, not a mobile responsive website, things like that. So what did I do? In all honesty, I spent 2 days with her at her house, literally going through 3 companies that we were going to help her build a website that is far none exceeds not only what she has, because she has nothing, but the fact of really where the website is state of the art for what the competitors are doing, but even what we're thinking ahead of what tomorrow. And to give you an example, you asked me, kind of what motivates me is, I know what our goal is for Douglas Elliman, Florida. That's my journey. That's what I'm here to do. I could tell you our plan 6 months down the road, a year down the road, 3 years down the road, and my 5-year plan. And I think very few people do that. Is they have to be laser focused on what their plan is. Things during the day change. And I don't wake up every day that I don't have an agenda. That I don't know exactly what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, how I'm doing it. Yes, things change throughout your day, and you adapt to change. But ultimately, you have to have your goals and know what those goals are and know what you're here to achieve. And I'm going to achieve them. That's not a problem.
That's what let me show you something. I have the microphone here, but in our coaching, it's very important. We don't work in yearly plans because it's very difficult to implement tactics under yearly plans. It's what we want, but we don't know. It's too far away. So we work every 90 days. We get together and we plan the next 90 days, the goals for the next 90 days. So we have that laser focus, clarity, simplicity, and focus. And then we put it down to the weekly plan. But then the execution comes with the daily activities. And here is the daily activities. This is 10-8, right? And every single day, the activities that are going to move me forward. And very few people have that clarity. And if you don't have that clarity, then other people's agenda gets into your agenda. And then 6 months from now, you're asking yourself, why am I making still the $1 million, right? Because it's not about the money. It's about improving, becoming better. As Jay Parker said, your CEO said when I interviewed him, he said, if you're making the same money every year, regardless of how much money you're making, to me, you're failing.
Well, that's a perfect example of what I just said.
That's why you guys work together.
That's why we get along so well. I didn't even know that. But that's exactly it. I mean, we're not satisfied with, listen, if all honesty, you're an associate of ours and you joined our company and we're there for you. If you come over expecting to do the same results, then I have failed you. We have failed you as a company. I think that's important. It's important that we're always looking at what your growth is. Whatever you feel comfortable your growth is. That's another thing. You can't push somebody to get to a certain growth that they're not comfortable with. It's to push them a little bit outside of their comfort zone, but to the point that also they're going to be satisfied and that they feel good about pushing them a little bit. And I think that's important. I think that's what we deal with independent contractors every day, and that's a very difficult job to motivate them to show them the differences of why us versus the other slew of different companies that exist. And really, it's about we're going to push your comfort zone. If you want to come here and be something great, come here. If you want to come here and be something okay. Honestly, stay where you're at. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you being okay. We don't want okay.
That's the culture of the company,
of the culture of the company, is we want the best of the best, and that's what we want to create, and that's what we give, and that's what I expect in return. It's about, when I meet with somebody, is I always say, I say something to an associate and I say, what do you want from us? What do you expect from us as a company?
See, you're going from your agent-centric to the client-centric in this case. Very good.
And then I say in return, when they're done and they tell you, of course, I want marketing and I want this and I want that and I want global exposure, which of course we have all of that. I say, okay, now this is what I want from you. Because that's important. They need to know that it's a partnership.
It got to be a win-win situation.
And in this industry, I think you asked the question earlier about, how do I see it evolving? I see it evolving more into a partnership. It really has to be a partnership. It has to be part of, like a marriage. It has to work well for it to fit for both people. Because if it doesn't, and if it's just one side on the associate side or one side on the company side, it's not a good recipe, and it's a recipe for failure.
Now, to end the conversation, 2 questions. Number one, for those new agents that are watching the show today, what would be one piece of advice that you would give to a new agent, just getting started in the business? Got their license 6 months ago, 3 months ago. What would be that advice?
I think it's a part of, number one, imagination.
Okay.
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Apply the knowledge to an
Right.
imagination.
Right.
Because not every listing, not every deal is going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be creative. And in today's world, creation is important of how to get the deal done, how to get the deal structured. And that's important. It's when you have deals that are the most difficult that I've seen the top professionals flourish.
See, when you mentioned knowledge, knowledge gives you the confidence. And that's exactly what we're selling. Confidence. Everybody can sell a property, all right? But if you want to scale, grow your business, it's that confidence. But the only way we get that confidence is through the knowledge.
It's the knowledge,
Right.
it's the professionalism,
Right.
the integrity.
Right.
Tell the client what you're going to do. Be willing to put it down in writing for the client so they see results. Key is communication. I've seen it fail in so many companies. I've seen it fail at all levels. I've seen it failed in failed marriages.
Right. Exactly.
I think communication is key. To make sure that everybody's on the same page of where you're going to get to, and understand that journey, because understand the destination, understand the journey is what's going to get you there,
Right,
and that's the
exactly.
important thing.
Now, for those experienced agents and top producers, you have many in your company. What would you recommend? What would be one piece of advice you would give top producers or experienced agents?
I think it's to know your strengths, know the weaknesses, know the company that you're with.
Right.
And if the company that you're with is not providing you the growth platform, then it's time for a move and a time for a change, whether it's with us or anybody else.
Especially in 2015.
I think it's important as the world continues to change, you evolve with the world.
Right.
And I think it's about having a company that is, progressively thinking about where we're going. It's about progressively thinking about what the future brings, where our clients are coming from, where our next clients are coming from. We study and look at not only the current trends, I look at the trends in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, because that's important to me. If the clients are going to be coming from Europe, what's happening in the Asia market, what's happening with stocks and bonds, that's important because that's going to drive the business. And that's going to drive the business of why Florida. And people love Florida. That's what's great. I mean, I always tell people, what's interesting about our industry is everybody has an opinion about real estate.
That's true.
Everybody,
That's true.
good, bad, or indifferent.
That's true.
Everybody
That's
thinks
true.
they know real estate,
That's
they
true.
understand it, but it's a passionate conversation. So start it.
Right.
And
It's
whether
easy to
good,
listen.
and there's no right or wrong.
true.
Which really is what is important to, and what hits the soul of that individual. It's about what's in the heart. And I think it's important that you're part of that, and that you understand not only where my clients are today, where are my clients evolving to? And it's not just a one transaction, but it's about transactions for life, about relationship building, and about how those clients could resolve and get you more clients and evolve in when they're buying and they're selling and they're ready because their kids are now going to college, or their job just changed, or they're ready for retirement. Those are all opportunities, and you have to seize the opportunity at all times throughout the relationship.
Gus, it's been a true pleasure having the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And until next time, make it a very, very productive day. Take care, guys.
Thank you.